Why do you think the interest rate in Kenya is 24% thereabout? And actually some of these small businesses go to Shylock where interest rate can be 1,000%. Can you imagine the interest rate in China is an average of 2.9%? So let's say a coffee farmer, a tea farmer, or any other person who is doing cereals or even just doing flowers or let's say horticulture, who want to export them to the global market, you are borrowing at 24% to compete with the Chinese who are borrowing at 2.9%. Do you know why Chinese have gone to set up flower farms and horticulture in Ethiopia, in Ghana, to plant them there, then compete with the export, Kenyan export in the export market? Is because Chinese, if you're doing some things, there's called Agricultural Bank of China, ABC, Agricultural Bank of China, that gives loan almost at 0%. Why do you think the Chinese are winning contractors in Kenya, beating Kenyan contractors in Kenyan given jobs? Because the banks in China are giving the Chinese contractors almost 0% interest rate loans. So just by having a cheaper loan, a country can be so competitive. And Kibaki did this by simply saying, no domestic borrowing.
By government.
By government, we are going abroad. But you see, the issue is that the level of borrowing we are having now is on the roof, and also we are borrowing for corruption. Like somebody has gone and said, Okiya Mtata put up a case in court called odious debt. And I've heard some people like Jim Wanjigi and the rest talking about odious debt. First of all, Fred, let me clarify that there's nothing like odious debt. The debt we have is not odious. But the debt we have not been used for the interest of the country. Let me explain what an odious debt. Odious debt is a debt borrowed by an illegitimate regime. And the example, the odious debt case comes in the around 1860 something, when the US government was colonized by Spain. And Spanish government borrowed money from Cuba to colonize America. When American government came, they rejected to pay that odious debt because they said that debt was not borrowed by a legitimate regime. So I'm asking those fighting for debt to look for debt review. Where do the money really go? And secondly, why I'm calling it corruption, Fred, this corruption is not like these people have mastered how to say with a pen and a Bible and a suit. So when they are doing all these things, somebody has a Bible, they have a suit, and they have a pen. How do they do it? All these leaders, President Uhuru Kenyatta had a bank, isn't it? The current president has a bank. So you find that domestic borrowing goes to their own bank. And because they know the interest rates are very high, and they are paying very high, they prefer whereby the left side of the left hand signs that the government is lending money, borrowing money to a bank. Then the right hand signs that my bank is the one borrowing to the government. And that's where corruption goes. And when you look at the total deposit in Kenya, all Kenyans deposit money in banks, right? Total deposit in Kenya is about 8.2 trillion Kenya shillings, right? From Kenyans. But the total domestic debt is about just the same amount, is about 7.9 trillion, meaning Kenyans collect their money, bring to the bank, where they should be getting this money from now to do their businesses.
They can't.
Yet the government comes to take all of it. They sort of call outcrowding them. When you go to a bank, for a simple friend, we must go back to produce. So this money we are collecting, the money we are borrowing, it is not going into production.
Yes.